The College Baseball Experience Omaha 8 and Best Futures episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Kalshi. Yes, make real money predicting sports, people. Kalshi is available in all 50 states, and you get $20 free with the promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, Kalshi, promo code SGPN. So do that, and remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, what's up, you degenerate gamblers? This is Bill Burr, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride, baby.
Baseball Experience Omaha 8 and Best Futures episode. Oh yeah. YouTube.com/The College Experience. Jump on over there, hit that like and subscribe button at iTunes, Spotify. The College Baseball Experience is sitting there waiting for you to be subscribed to. Boys, we're close. Live Bullets is right around the corner here. I can't wait. If you're wondering who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Dant, Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
Nobody knows nothing.
Somebody knows. Double the price. But no one touches Dundee.
I mean, we're 4 days away. 4 days away. I can't wait for this. I mean, I already have my Friday plans. Just day baseball all day. Fantastic stuff. That carries on Saturday and Sunday. It is glorious. I am joined by the heartbeat of the College Baseball Experience. You've also heard him on the College Basketball Experience. Give it up for the great Noah Bieniek. How are you, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing great, Colby. Yeah, like you said, we got games this week. Can't wait we've been holding on to these for a little bit of time now. The Omaha 8 and favorite futures. Can't wait to give them out. Let's go.
Yes, and we are also joined by a third man in the booth. You have heard him on the Head First podcast. And if you haven't, you better subscribe. Former Cincinnati Bearcat alum, JP Sponseller. How are you, brother?
I'm awesome. Like you said, 4 days out. I think we got some Puerto Rico baseball starting at around like 9-10 a.m. Friday morning. So great sign for all of those who will be in the office as well. Gives you something to do on Friday.
Now, we should mention, because me and Bieniek were going through this last night, you might have to download an app. It is free to download. I did it last night.
Victory Plus.
Yes. And that's the plus sign, not the word plus. Because I was originally typing in plus and I couldn't find. I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, I was about to.
Yeah.
I was
In
yelling
your defense, the website has it spelled out, so yeah,
even better.
They don't even have it right.
They really know what they're doing over there. But let me tell you, they do know what they're doing on covering college baseball, and I think college hockey too, surprisingly. Yeah. Victory Plus sign. Free service in case you're having problems with that. They had the Cancun Challenge in basketball, which I was able to get a direct feed from their YouTube page. So just FYI, if you're struggling, the app's free, but there's always a second option if you're struggling, or maybe vice versa, depending on how you look at it. But yeah, I can't wait for this, guys. And what's that?
That first game is 10:30 Eastern. Houston, Wake Forest, and then also down there playing in Puerto Rico, we have Indiana State and Manhattan in the mid-major pool. Washington, NC State's the other two teams in the high major, and then BC, Seton Hall, also playing alongside Indiana in Manhattan.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you guys would know better than me, but like, I know there's a lot of neutral site, obviously, games because of the weather in the Midwest. and the Northeast, I guess, and maybe even the Pacific Northwest. How big of a how many teams actually are playing home games in those regions? I mean, I know you're not going to know that number off the top of your head, but and also, is that something you seek to bet more because that's such a gigantic edge?
JP, you're the player. I would say one, your experience playing in Xavier in probably March, because I don't know how many home games you hosted in February. And then like your thought process handicapping it.
Yeah, so normally we would not have a home game in Cincinnati until the first week of March. So your first 2 weeks, and that went for pretty much everyone in our region. I would say Cincinnati was a pretty fair cutoff as far as anyone north of us was kind of on the same schedule. As far as handicapping it, I think it depends on the year. For example, this year, I know for a fact that the teams in that region have not actually inter-squadded on a baseball field, or at least their own field, yet this spring, which is definitely something to look into. Maybe something to either stay away from, or kind of maybe throw an underdog bet in there on a Southern team. But yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on in the first week or so.
To JP's point, and sorry I said Xavier, I was thinking Mason.
I was about to say, I was like, the disrespect
there.
It had me rethinking my ink. I was like, did I write down Cincinnati?
No. I was no. So yeah, my apologies there, but he's on the right scent there. Like I typically am on the same line there. I also think a little bit overs, because all these northern teams have been doing is trapped inside swinging. That they're just taking dry hacks off BP, soft toss. Very few live at bats, but some live at bats, but they don't really once you're outside, you just feel free. And then also they've been taking ground balls on turf all winter long inside. So once you get outside, natural grass and real dirt, the hops aren't as true. And sometimes the infield's not as clean, not as sharp. So as in the infield play. So errors, just fielding miscues, also really good hitting. Overs are another angle that I typically will look at early on in the year from a northern team that is playing down south.
I could be mistaken because I didn't pinpoint this, but I could have swore there was multiple games last year. The ones that jump out off the top of my head was BYU and West Virginia, not them playing against each other. There was legit snow happening as they were playing the baseball game. I remember because it kind of went viral on Twitter. It's I want to say it might have been Dub V and Marshall or something. It was someone where I was just like, damn, look at this shit. How how hard would it be to hit a ball when you got snowflakes coming down?
Yeah, BYU actually has a heated turf system for that specific reason, to melt the snow, and so it doesn't stick nearly as well, which is cool.
Yeah. That is wild. All right, so let's jump into this. I think we're going to start off by going with the Omaha 8 and our predictions there. Bieniek, anything else you want to say before we jump into this?
Shop around is what I would say. With the college baseball betting market, it's so niche that it really doesn't take a whole lot of money to move lines. And if the line does move on one book, it won't move on the other. So you got to kind of check around and make sure you're getting your best bang for your buck on the price that you're going to play. So JP, anything else along those lines?
Yeah, I would say for futures and even in general, I mean, throughout the season, I'll probably be looking at 2 or 3 different books daily, just because you can catch slightly better odds somewhere pretty much every day. So I would say if you're looking into getting or to betting college baseball, I'd definitely get in the habit of shopping around on a few different books.
Yeah, I will say DraftKings usually opens, and DraftKings usually the sharpest. But a book like Bet Rivers, which I think is kind of dull when talking about how sharp it is. The dogs are typically valuable if they're shorter dogs. If they're longer dogs, they don't give you fair odds. And I think that's where DraftKings shines as well. So it's kind of you're playing an in-between outside game between DraftKings, which is your best book for kind of gauging where the odds makers are predicting the game to land versus where you can take advantage of other books and earn some money.
Didn't Circa and our friend Derek Stevens, the owner of Circa, do a decent job of college baseball coverage last year?
Yeah, fantastic. Actually, they have I believe his name is Jeff Sharp is their trader. He's online, he's on Twitter. And he's a lone wolf. Like their odds are sometimes like way off and sometimes like some of the sharpest. But I credit him a lot because he's very like I would say confident, but also driven and like, hey, we'll take money on this team because I think that there's an edge for us. I think they opened, for example,
Did they have
Florida.
a contest? They had a contest too, didn't they?
Well, yeah, that was through 11.7 2 years ago.
Okay.
They opened Florida. So Florida was like 40-1 to win it all on a lot of books, and Circa opened them at 20-1. He's like not taking money on Florida. They have a really good starting duo is probably the thought process there. So yeah, just an example.
All right. Yeah. So shop around and let's kick this thing off. Bieniek. I don't know, slide wise, you want to explain for the viewer right now?
Yeah, I just screenshot this 2-page spread from the back of the Diamond Report.
Which it's not too late to grab it. It's not too late to grab it. Yeah.
It's a perfect tool for week 1 and like early on in the season. I'll be using it a bunch. So yeah, we did kind of like a season's predictions page. So I gave out my Omaha 8 storylines I was looking forward to, a buy, sell, hold, exercise that we did, and then my top 16 entering the season. But yeah, on the screen you can see it: UCLA, Texas, LSU, Coastal Carolina, Georgia Tech, Kentucky, Florida State, and UC Santa Barbara are the 8 teams that I've predicted to end up at Omaha. I like to get a little cute with a couple of mid-majors. Coastal Carolina is actually like really good this year. We haven't talked about them. We haven't previewed the Sun Belt, but part of that is because there's no betting odds on the league, and I think it's because the Chanticleers are really good on paper. But I do think Southern Miss is pretty live behind them. But I like Santa Barbara as well with their pitching staff, and I think they can use that to their advantage this spring. So, yeah, UCLA, I caught them at 12-1. I think they're around like 10-1 right now. I'd probably play it anywhere catching double digits, 10 or above for them to win it all. I don't need to do a whole lot of research. If you're out there listening and interested in college baseball, everybody's talking about UCLA. They bring literally everybody back. They bring 2 starting pitchers back from the weekend rotation, and both of them may not even throw in the weekend rotation because they've added some other arms that are better. One's a freshman that's a blue chipper, a couple of transfers. So UCLA is going to be really good. They're the number 1 team. They play in the Big Ten, which is not going to provide them a whole lot of competition. So they should do pretty well in the regular season. They should host in the postseason, and that way they kind of have an avenue to Omaha. So UCLA is a great bet, I think, at 10-1 or larger. Texas is my team to win it all. I've talked about them already in the SEC preview. Don't have to go in depth on that. Again, anything larger than 10-1 there, I think, is actionable. I have LSU there. I haven't grabbed a piece of the Tigers yet. I think that their price is too short, and if they skid a little bit in the regular season, it'll get larger than, I think it was like 7-1 the last time I checked. Coastal Carolina, I think, is great. Pitching staff is so strong. I actually think the offense has a chance to be better this year than it was last year, and they played in the national championship finals. They're 25-1 on the market to win it all. I also think plus 380 for them to get to Omaha is a great bet. Georgia Tech is my next team from the ACC. I think they'll be able to slug their way there. Pitching's a little bit of a question mark, but the offense is so good. 28-1 was the best price I saw on DraftKings, actually no, it was 35-1 on MGM, but 28-1 I think is the current one best out there. They're 400-1 to get to Omaha. Kentucky, talked about them in the SEC as well, really high on the Cats this year, but that's more of a bolder pick. If you listen to other people, they're not quite as high on Big Blue Nation this year. I think plus 650 is the best way to go, them to get to Omaha. but 45 to 1 for them to win it all is not bad either. Florida State, I think the pitching staff has improved. We talked about them in the ACC preview. They're 22 to 1 to win it all. And then UC Santa Barbara, who I just talked about, 200 to 1 to win it all. I like the 18 to 1 just to get to Omaha better. You can find that on DraftKings. The other teams that I also got a piece of to just appear in Omaha were TCU at plus 550, North Carolina. I actually grabbed them to win it all at 22 to 1. If the offense clicks, which they have plenty of experience there, the pitching staff's really good. And then I have Southern Miss at 10 to 1 on MGM to get to Omaha, and Florida at plus 450 on DraftKings to get to Omaha. I've got other teams on the list, but I'll let JP talk about his Omaha 8.
Yeah, and just before I get into this, to actually make the College World Series is probably my favorite future bet in college baseball. I like those way better than trying to bet the winner or even the conference championships at times or the regular season. But getting into my Omaha 8, I definitely tried to have a little fun with it. I forced myself to by the numbers pick two teams outside of the top 25 or D1 baseball's top 25, which has been true the past 4 seasons. I think I looked. Also picked could only choose 2 or maybe 3 inside of the top 10 of D1 baseball, which is a trend in the numbers. And obviously, as you could see, leaving the LSU Tigers out, another trend of missing Omaha after you win a national championship. So to get into it, starting with TCU Horned Frogs, this is a future that I did place. I was able to get them at plus 550. Don't need to go into depth there as we covered them in the Big 12. The next is Texas. This is I did not grab them to make Omaha. This might be the one team that I bet to win the College World Series. I think the value is really there at plus 1,500, I believe it is right now. So that may be my one College World Series winner bet that I do. Coastal Carolina, Noah touched on them. I think their offense is also going to be better than it was last year, and they're returning a lot of pieces to that pitching staff. I grabbed them at plus 375. This is kind of the lowest I would go. I hate having money sit in my account for months at a time if it's not worth a big payout. So I definitely go for the higher odds stuff when I try to do these. Mississippi State next. We talked about what Coach O'Connor's got going down there. I did not grab them. I just think I want them to be in Omaha. I think they're going to be a great team, but just too many question marks for the value that they're at right now. I believe it's probably like plus 200 for them to make the World Series. Next, I got the Gators, who Noah touched on. I did grab them at plus 450. I feel like there's a decent amount of value on a lot of their, especially to win the SEC too, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But just given that 1-2 punch that they have, I think it's really solid. Florida State, this is a team I did not bet because the value wasn't really there for me, but we covered them. I'm really high on the Seminoles this year. Then for my 2 long shots, I did not bet these. I don't think I haven't even found a market that's offering for Little Rock. So if I do find that, I definitely will place it. But Nebraska Cornhuskers, I've always wanted to see this fan base. You see them take over Omaha for the Big Ten championship or the Big Ten tournament. I would love to see this fan base rooting on their Huskers in Omaha for the World Series. I was really high on them last year. I feel like they kind of underperformed a little bit. A lot of pieces coming back to that lineup that I like. And then the Little Rock Trojans from Arkansas. Saw them compete in the regional in Baton Rouge last year. In that regional final, they returned 11 of the 14 rostered players in that game. And I really believe in that coach and what he's got going down there. You can catch his interview from Jack DeLongshaw, member of D1 Baseball and 11.7, just dropped that today on their head coach. So, I'll say to round out some of my futures here, I did place a couple more that were outside of my Omaha 8. let me see here. Shout out to Ben Upton. Talked about Bethune-Cookman. His bold take was they're in a super. I put
Colby. They're good in baseball too.
I put $5 to win 1,200 on them to make the World Series. I'll live and die by that.
It's a
and
pizza
then, yeah, that's a pizza money play. And out of my respect for Noah and his opinions, I also bet UC Santa Barbara and Kentucky.
There we go. Yeah, the others that were kind of on the outside looking in for me, like Auburn, they're plus 350. I think they're very solid this year. Louisville, I don't know if they're catching enough respect. Got a really loaded lineup, young pitching staff, but they kind of got opportunities last year because of the injuries. They're plus 550 to get there. Same with Miami. They played Louisville in that super regional. I think Miami's a little under the radar too at 6-1. And then the two mid majors, I'll go UC Irvine at 10-1, and then Colby will probably mention East Carolina. That's 12-1.
You guys are lucky. I was gonna come in being like, yeah, guys, I don't want to do the show anymore because you didn't mention my Pirates, but yeah, that was one right there. That what'd you say? Did you already take it, or you say
they're
thinking?
They're
of
12-1. I'm thinking of it and have not fired on it yet.
It's got to be the year. It's got to be the year. We got this Mr. Beast going to give us $100 million for our athletic fight. So, it's just got to be the year. This is it. We're in. We're going all in, man. Look, for
so
the
how about for you?
Yeah, for me, look, honestly, I feel kind of good because you guys are the sharps here, and I'm just the fucking moron that just hosts the show. But I had a lot of these on there, like in the mix. So
awesome.
Now I had ECU as the best team in the nation, but I had Texas in there. That's deer in a cage. I had TCU in there just because I've been a huge fan of that team over the past few years. I had Kentucky, and that's really a Bieniek play. Like Bieniek was just so high on Kentucky, and the value was the value was so good that I'm just like, you got it. We're gonna have to take Kentucky. I did have Georgia Tech. I also had Southern Miss instead of Coastal because we're gonna stick it to Coastal and ruin their chances to go deep into the postseason. I had Southern Miss there, and I did have this one. And I'm curious your take on the Oregon State Beavers. I know they're independent still, right? And they schedule super weird, right? But aggressively, but weird, right? So I always wonder when this happens, if you're not a name brand, I know they're kind of a name brand in college baseball, but I know how corrupt college athletics can be when it comes to a tournament, right? No matter the sport.
Yeah.
Is that a scary play just because of like, I don't think they want you to be independent.
I think that the way that Mitch Canham scheduled last year was like super smart. I think regular season wise, they only had, it was like 15 to 20 home games total of their 55-ish games that they played. So he was like, yeah, we're going to sacrifice some of the home games that we have the opportunity to play during the regular season and give our fans home games during the postseason. And I loved that approach. Like it made sure that they had an RPI top 10 last year, which is basically the net in college basketball, and the college baseball selection committee slaves to the RPI. So it's like they don't move from it very much at all. So Oregon State was a top 8 team. They won their regional. They hosted the number 9 seed Florida State. So they had the avenue straight to Omaha from Corvallis, and they took it. And they played, the joke was they played the maximum amount of games that they were able to play in the postseason at home because they lost the very first game in the regional to the 4 seed, won their way through the entire losers bracket to get to the super regional. Then they played 3 games in that best of 3. But yeah, Oregon State's a great pick. They're a team that should have been included in this section, just as like really good power program in baseball. Dax Whitney, Ethan Kleinschmidt are a really good 1-2 punch in the starting rotation, but also Eric Segura has plenty of starting experience, and Wyatt Queen was coming on late last year. The bullpen is full of transfers. I think that's the one question mark alongside, kind of a weaker lineup than we're used to seeing from the Beavers. This year, Jacob Craig is their power hitter, and they're probably middle of the order bat that you can always circle for Oregon State. Last year, he had 14 bombs, but quite a few transfers in that group as well. Shout out Tyler Inge, son of Brandon Inge, former third baseman, shortstop, utility player for the Detroit Tigers for years. So, and he's also a Bay Area player, Oakland A's, I think, for a little bit too.
The Oregon State Florida State game last year was one of the highlights of the of the postseason, in my opinion. That game was absolutely insane. So I had the Beavs there. I did have a ninth. You guys went way deeper than me on your honorable mention that you're sprinkling on. All I had was UCLA, just because I knew the Big Ten the Big Ten is not known for their baseball. So I took a shot on the Bruins. But yeah, that rounds out. I said Arkansas, right? Did I say Arkansas?
Maybe you skipped Arkansas, but
Arkansas is the team that if you remember, like I thought when we were projecting the SEC, I know I had Roll Tide like winning the tournament, but I thought Arkansas, I like the year after the year. So the Razorbacks kind of high on them this year. Despite I know the odds are not, there's not a ton of value because they were very good a year ago, but what was their value? What was their odds again? Yeah, it's decent, but it's not. Plus 1100, plus 1100.
One of the favorites to get there. I don't think it's a bad pick either, and their pitching staff is going to retool. There's no rebuild there at Arkansas, even though they lose the entire starting rotation, outfield, star shortstop. They'll be just fine. We'll talk about Arkansas in a little bit, I think.
Do you want to hit on the Bruins a little bit? Because I feel like we didn't get a chance to really highlight them too much.
Yeah, I had them in my Omaha 8. I talked about them a little bit. Like, everybody's talking about them. They're the number one team. I actually got a chance to talk to John Savage in a media availability last week. And I asked him this, like, dude, you guys have gotten so much positive PR this preseason, like more than they've gotten in maybe a decade. I was like, what do you feel that your team still needs to work on? Is there anything? And he was like, yeah, a little bit of pitching. And so that we'll talk about the pitching a little bit, because Michael Barnett comes back. This guy was like 14-0 last year for UCLA. And that's just a product of the Big Ten not really being a great baseball conference. But he was so solid, like very sturdy, consistent right-handed arm for them. Landon Stump and Wyland Moss also come back after starting many games. Logan Redemann's the guy that he said that he really likes. Probably going to be the ace, which we incorrectly projected in the Diamond Report. He's a San Diego transfer from the Toreros, and he was excellent there last year. Had a 2.29 ERA. Angel Cervantes is a freshman who was like he was drafted in the 50s in this past MLB draft, and he said, "Nah, I'm not going to go play for the Pirates. I'm going to go pitch for the Bruins." That's just terrible. But he's pitching for UCLA. He's got a chance to be a starter for them. The Bruins, they're getting a lot of, and a lot of it is garnered and, definitely deserved, but they returned 7 starters from this lineup. That was very good. And that was the reason why they were in Omaha last year. They were all sophomores. Now they're all juniors. This is an older, and talented group of baseball players here in UCLA. JP, any thoughts here?
No, I mean, you hit it right on the head. I think, I mean, anytime you return this much experience from an Omaha team, you're going to get a lot of PR and a lot of positive notes going into the season. And yeah, they're bringing back an entire lineup, almost a full pitching staff, and then they're able to add Will Gasparino from Texas, who I think is a guy who you've seen it in flashes, and if you've seen him play and seen him hit, you know that there's a lot of juice in that bat. And Who knows if he has a year to have everything click, that could be a monster season.
I saw him opening weekend last year in person. I was like, this kid's going to be a star. And he just
Yeah.
didn't quite click, but he was a
Yeah.
good defender. He's like a 6'6", lanky basketball player build,
Mhm.
and he covers so much ground in the outfield, has a long swing so he can get kind of caught up by the fastball a little bit, and he's a free swinger as well. So the off speed, he's tend to be a chaser. We'll see how he does this year, being at the bottom of the order, not necessarily in the middle where Texas was expecting him to do a whole lot. He'll have some, a steady diet of fastballs down in the order, and we'll see what happens.
We got some people in the chat. I mean, UC Irvine, Bieniek, they're disappointed with your Gauchos play with Santa Barbara. So you better watch what you say around your one of your burner account, but potentially Bieniek is king. Bieniek is king is in there. Your thoughts on the Anteaters? All right.
Yeah, let's save them. We're going to talk about the Big West and the conference futures odds because they're definitely a player.
There we go. Well, let's take a second and look. I want to tell the folks that the College Baseball Experience is brought to you by us. We are part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Download the SGPN app for all of our picks, our podcasts, our articles, all in one app. And guess what? It is free. Yes, App Store, Google Play Store. Just type in SGPN and remember, as always, to let it ride. We're also brought to you by Kalshi. Kalshi is a real money prediction market, legal in all 50 states. Kalshi has a ton of trading options for your favorite sports. Besides, sports, they have a ton of other markets, including politics, entertainment, hell, even the weather. I mean, how great is that? Told you it was going to rain today. Look, Kalshi, you can trade anything over there. And new Kalshi customers get $20 when they use the promo code SGPN. That's Kalshi, KALSHI, promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rebet. Look, Rebet is the #1 social sportsbook and casino that's out there, available in 35 plus different states, including, and this is what you gotta think about here, Texas and California. Yes, you gotta check out Rebet. Get in on the action with Rebet right now. You get a 100% purchase match up to $100 with the promo code SGPN. That's Rebet, promo code SGPN. All right, Bieniek, we are back on the College Baseball Experience. Where do you want to jump next?
Yeah, let's pull up that slide show that I had early on, and we can jump into alphabetical order.
This one's just free money, guys. All right, I mean this one
American.
I mean, see, this is like if there's ever a time. I know these Roadrunners are getting some hype. I don't know, JP. I know you used to be in the American. I remember they're not calling themselves the AAC anymore. It's the American. Like that makes a fucking difference. But UTSA getting some hype. Are you any chance you could be sold on these Roadrunners?
For sure. I mean, I think they were pretty close to they ran into UCLA in a regional last year. They had a really strong year last year. Again, UTSA was not a team that was in the American when I played in it. But yeah, I think there's definitely some respect there for the Roadrunners. I still think your Pirates are the easy and heavy favorite here.
I remember I don't know if it was the last year or the year before, but there was one year Tulane gave us fits. Is there any value on these Green Wave, Bieniek?
Yeah, so Tulane was a team that with 11.7 working on our mid-major top 25. We left them just outside the mid-major top 25. They have some question marks this year that I think the American's actually pretty strong. You have UTSA and East Carolina, who I think are your two front runners this year. Just from here, I'll pull this up too, share it. We have the Roadrunners 6th, and East Carolina 7th. And UTSA won the league last year in the regular season. ECU won the tournament, so it was tough to separate the two and both bring back plenty of production, and their coaches are great. So they're both right there. East Carolina, it's an easy story. Like, their pitching staff is strong. Ethan Norby is back, their ace. Sean Jenkins is back. He's likely to fit into the weekend rotation.
And wait a second. We got Cliff Godwin on the line right now.
Because when you're at East Carolina, you go for it every time. Or you don't coach at East Carolina, you don't come to East Carolina, you don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart. Write it.
Okay. I'm sorry. Continue on. Right.
And they have a stud freshman coming in on the bump as well. Colby, you'll love this guy's name too, as I'm pulling it up. I don't know why he's dropped from my memory. It is Colby Weber. So he is likely to get some starts on the bump.
Weber.
Along with Gavin Van Kempen, who is an experienced arm from West Virginia. And they also bring back quite a few relievers. UTSA, it's a mix of everything. They have a really good balance of teams. Connor Miles and Robert Orlowski return on the mound. Both of them stars. Connor Kelly had a really good year on the bump last year. But yeah, like, their offense should be good. The team that I think is under the radar, so pulling up the odds again, I'll show this real quick. I think that Charlotte at plus 750 is a great look. And the USF Bulls at 12-1 is a really good one as well. Florida Atlantic, we ranked in the top 25. I wasn't maybe as high on them at their price at 7-1, but just scrolling down here to Charlotte. Last year they had one of the best mid-major aces in Blake Gillespie. He's gone, but they bring back Andrew Cribbs. He's a Tennessee transfer. Last year he threw 65 innings, had a 4.15 ERA. They also have Drew Munn, who was Central Connecticut State's ace, and he's throwing in the high 90s. He's a potential breakout player on the national scale for Charlotte this year. Rob Woodard's an excellent pitching coach. He gets the most out of that group, and when he has offenses, they are good teams. This year, Dawson Bryce has a chance to be the player of the year in the league. Hits bombs, batted 340 with a 989 OPS last year. Cody Gunderson, Carson Bain are back as well for Charlotte. Just a little bit on FAU too. So Charlotte, I think, is your best value play. FAU is 7-1. This is the one that I'm kind of passing up a little bit, but their duo of Marshall Lipsy and Brandon LaRue in the lineup is solid. South Florida, I thought, had the long shot best value play. They were 12-1. Mitch Hannes is an excellent coach. He's the former Indiana State coach, and they've kind of created this RPI formula or whatever, where Indiana State was always in the top 25 in the RPI. Last year, they overachieved expectations at USF with a brand new roster. And this year, they have 28 players who are upperclassmen. They are going to be quite good as well. Jevin Relaford is the son of an MLB player. Last year, he led all of NCAA D1, D2, D3 in stolen bases with 68. And they've got some work to do on the pitching staff. That's the question mark for sure for the Bulls. But 12-1, good value.
There we go. I mean, JP, you got anything you like besides ECU winning the national championship?
No, I think to answer your question on Tulane, but the way I see this conference and the way I always did is East Carolina will either win the regular season or the tournament. So I think if East Carolina wins the regular season, that's when you sprinkle a little bit on the green wave to make some magic in the tournament like they have in the past.
They always give us a hard time, man.
Yeah,
they've won like 2 of the last 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was actually a time my first year in the American, we beat them game 1, and then they won, we lost, turned around and played them like 2 days later, and they run rolled us. So they were always kind of a coin toss. You don't want to catch the green wave in Clearwater on a hot day, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, Charlotte plus 750 would be my pick. Here.
Bieniek, are we going to address the MAC? Because we do have a question. Are we going to go through the MAC? Because
MAC betting odds, but I did write it in the Diamond Report. So
I'm just curious then, because we have Evan in the chat asking about his Miami Redskins. They might be the year in Oxford. They're now ranked 20th. I know
college basketball.
Okay. So wait, is he talking college basketball? Am I answering a college basketball question, or is this a college baseball thing?
I think
that might be a hockey question.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good in hockey too.
It says puck.
Yeah. Miami, Ohio is also not bad in baseball. They returned the best hitter and pitcher in the
I
MAC.
assumed he was asking that.
Yeah. No, I
in
think
the
he's
MAC.
definitely referencing basketball. I think they're ranked number 20.
Okay.
And that ranking came out today. But no, they have Evan Applewick at first base and Carson Byers on the mound.
There it is. He says he knows this is baseball. He's talking baseball.
They're not ranked number 20, but
Not yet, he says. Not yet.
I did preseason rank them second in the MAC. I think they have another good group. Last year they went to a regional.
Who'd you have first?
Kent State.
Golden Flashes.
State wins it.
Okay.
Yeah, respectable program. They've been to Omaha. They're one of the 4 seeds that have made the trek out to the middle of nowhere, America. Yeah. So Kent State, I think, has the best team that returns for sure. When you're talking about like top tier talent, I think Miami, Ohio's got the edge there. But it's a team sport, so we'll see how that goes.
They still got no chance when they make their way down to Clifton and Cincinnati for a midweek. They have no chance. A team's curse.
See, Evan, we're hitting you with all accounts here. But all right. So next up, we jump to the ACC, which I know we have the episode out. Which if you're an ACC fan, go listen to that. Yeah, go listen to that / watch that on YouTube or whatever podcast platform you choose. But Bieniek, run away with this thing, man.
Yeah, we don't have to spend a whole lot of time on the conference. We already talked about this and gave out our preseason rankings in that show. My number 1 team was Georgia Tech. They're 6-1 right now. They're the 3rd favorite. North Carolina at plus 320 and Florida State at plus 450 are ahead of them. North Carolina's got the most favorable schedule. They catch a couple of the top teams at home and they dodge a couple of the other top teams. Georgia Tech's got an all right schedule. The only tough road series that jumps out to me is they're at Georgia Tech Georgia Tech is at Georgia Tech. No, the Georgia Tech's at North Carolina, and they dodge Louisville. Florida State had a couple of tough road series, so I overlooked them a little bit in this. I think that Virginia at 10-1 is worth a look alongside Miami at 11-1. I think both of those present pretty good value. JP, your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought honestly, just looking at the overall landscape, this was one of the better conference winners to place a bet on, just because you're getting the highest favored team at plus 320. I'm with you though. I literally think any team above Miami could potentially win this league, realistically. So yeah, I mean, I think Georgia Tech at plus 600 kind of spooked me more than anything, just because of how much love they've been getting. But yeah, I think there's a lot to like here. I would take a shot at Louisville or Virginia as well for maybe a long shot, and then maybe more of a favorite. I'd probably lean towards Florida State or Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I fired on Georgia Tech. They were 8-1 when the market opened.
Yeah,
and it's decreased by $2, but still at plus 600. I definitely get some people, and you are saying it as well. Definitely gained cold feet seeing the open on the market, but I'll take it. I'll take that CLV. So,
all right. Yeah. Next up, let's jump to the. What's wrong?
No, we're good. Sorry.
Next up, let's jump to the Big Ten. I mean, we kind of hit on the Bruins already. They're the preseason favorite, but the Big Ten, not known necessarily for their baseball, but maybe more so now that they added in some Pac-12 schools. Bieniek, your thoughts? I know we already touched on UCLA, but maybe perhaps your Wolverines or just some of the other teams that have been new to the conference, perhaps.
Yeah, sure. I'll let JP go ahead. He had a Big Ten team not named UCLA in the Omaha 8.
I had Nebraska in my Omaha 8. I definitely see that as more of a offense gets hot late in the year and wins the tournament kind of play. I do see UCLA just having, as far as pitching staff top to bottom, the best chance to just win damn near every series this year, which would lead to a regular season championship. But for me, like I said earlier, value's not there to get it at plus 120. I mean, if you're really dying to bet a team in the Big Ten, I think it's worth a shot at taking USC, Iowa, Indiana, or Nebraska. But personally, I think those are more of tournament upset plays than just having a better record than the Bruins or maybe the Ducks.
Yeah, over a case of 30 games, I think the cream will end up rising to the top in the Big Ten. And I don't think that UCLA necessarily has as big of a gap as I project it to be in the league. I don't think Oregon's really nipping at their heels this year on paper. They lose a bunch from last year's team that was really good. They split the regular season title with UCLA last year. They lose Mason Neville, who led the country in home runs. Jacob Walsh, his high school teammate, is also gone. They lose Grayson Grinzel and Jason Wrights, who were in the weekend rotation last year. Then they kind of went armed by committee, and some of the best bullpen pieces have departed, like Cole Stokes is now at Florida State. So Oregon retooling a little bit. I still think they'll be good. I still have them second in the Big Ten, but I project it to be like a 2 or 3 game gap. So yeah, if you're not afraid of like tying up money on a plus 120 price for 5 months, UCLA is a good pick in my opinion at plus 120. I think it should probably be a little bit minus money. But yeah, I think Illinois is probably as low as I'd go at 30-1. They usually can bash. But so Michigan, I think, has the best pitching staff, the deepest pitching staff in the Big Ten. The offense, I think, has plenty of question marks. So it's a really scary, investment there. But 20-1 is not bad for, having a weekend rotation of Tate Carey and 3 experienced starters: Kurt Barr, David Lally Jr., and Cade Montgomery, who's a Utah Tech transfer with good stuff, and he throws strikes. And then they bring back one of their top relievers too. But too many questions in the offense for me to get there with the Wolverines, and I'm also biased there. So Penn State has been making progress and they're on a positive trajectory under Mike Gambino. 25-1, I think, is a fair price for the team. I don't think it's a super attractive squad this year that I think can challenge for a Big Ten regular season title. But again, like JP mentioned, a team that could be feisty in May for conference tournament title. For me, the number 1 team in that category would be Indiana. I think they can slug this year, but they always have pitching question marks. So
that's my dark horse. That's my dark horse Big Ten player of the year, Jake Hanley.
Yes, the first baseman.
He's an alumni from my high school as well, so I've known him for a good bit. He's the returning Big Ten freshman of the year, so expecting some big things out of him in Bloomington.
There we go.
Yeah. And look, I remember Oregon was a couple years ago. Oregon A&M in the tournament was a wild one. Can I look? You guys know the game better than me. Making no mistakes about that. But why the fuck is Iowa not playing at the Field of Dreams Stadium? I feel like they should play at least one. Like if MLB's, it's like the hockey outdoor thing that it's adapted in college hockey now. Can we get the Hawkeyes to play Nebraska in the fucking cornfields? That should happen every year, at least one game. I know they play the series. Give me one of those games out there. Just telling you, it's going to help sell the sport. It's going to help sell the sport. Listen to old Pick Dundee in this one. What's that?
I think it's a good idea.
I like how your mind wanders and comes up with these great ideas, because I've never even thought of that, and I love the Field of Dreams idea in the MLB. Yeah, Indiana or Iowa at Nebraska, May 8th through the 10th. Just change the location.
It's
from
a layup
Lincoln
here.
to
It's a layup. Come on. It's a layup. This one is to me, it would help sell the sport. Everyone wants to watch this game, just like you want to see when you see the NHL game outdoors.
And Fox would pick it up.
Yeah.
Fox picked up an Iowa-Oregon game last year. They would televise that game.
100%. They need to do that. I'm just telling you, like like when you think me and Patty C would always think of Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, these cornfields. What better place to play a game than actually on the cornfields after a legendary movie? So, just food for thought there. But next up, actually, before we get to the next conference, I want to let you know that the college baseball experience is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog has you covered for pick'em for almost every single sport. Get in on Underdog and win up to 5,000 times the amount of money you enter. Underdog's got a brand new offer for new customers as well. Play $5, get $75 in bonus funds when you sign up with our promo code here, TCE SGPN. So do that and let it ride. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Rhythm has been on an absolute heater in college basketball lately. They got NBA as well, so jump over there. Super easy to sign up, run predictions off the house model, or you can make your own and mess around with those sliders. Looking to go premium? Use the promo code SGPN25 when you download the Rhythm app for 25% off your first month. So download Rhythm. That's RITHMM. Promo code SGPN25. All right, we are back. Just got done breaking down the Big Ten and making a lot of sense with a game at the Field of Dreams Stadium. Next up, it's the Big 12. We've done an episode on this. You should go out and listen to this or watch it. But I mean, have the odds moved a lot, Bieniek?
No. Kansas 11-1. Bet it now. Like I think that's your best value, but also I picked them second in the league. I think they've got a really damn good offense. They're a bunch of JUCO bandits, so it easily could go the other way. I think the floor may be lower than some other title contenders in the league, but this is one where the price has not really moved. And at the top there, not a lot of people have betted. This is my presumption, is because I think that you see TCU, Arizona, Oklahoma State, Arizona State, and West Virginia all within $2 of each other, and they're like, oh my God, this league's going to be impossible to pick. Well, I think TCU has rightfully garnered a lot of respect in the preseason. They're kind of everybody's pick. Plus 400, I think, is good value as well for that team. I think they've got the best pitching staff in the league, and they return quite a bit of the offense. I think they've got 3 day one draft prospects on the offense too, to go along with the best pitching staff in the league. So JP, this one was an easy handicap for me once I saw the odds board. And yeah, Kansas was like 13-1 or something like that. That's where I got them. And it's come down a little bit, and TCU hasn't really moved. So I don't know if they've gotten much action. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, what did I say earlier? TCU's maybe plus 500 to make Omaha, and they're plus 400 to win the Big 12. So I think as far as a favorite, this is probably my favorite of future bet for the conference winners, at least, is TCU plus 400. I think that's great value, given all of the love they're getting preseason. I think this one maybe even more similar to, or maybe even better chances of making some money than the ACC. I think literally any one of these teams. I mean, I do think Kansas State, Cincinnati, the teams below that have a chance of being competitive, but I think any team above this, especially Bieniek talked about Kansas, I think West Virginia. I mean, you're getting pretty good value there at plus 600 or like Bieniek said, plus 1,100 for Kansas to make their way towards the top. I think there's a lot of value in the Big 12. It does tend to play out that way as it does in other sports, a little bit of a shit show at times. But yeah, I think a lot of value in the Big 12 conference winners.
And Joel in the chat saying, why are we not taking plus 600 on West Virginia to win this thing? Yeah, let's go. All right. And Mike Jones, we're going to get to you in a second with the Razorbacks. We kind of hit on them a little bit earlier, but let's go to the Big West now. We talked about this earlier in the chat. There's a Anteater fan of UC Irvine, Bieniek is king. And he is saying, you're making a mistake with your Gauchos. I think America's real favorite team, I know they say it's the Dallas Cowboys. I believe, from traveling these college sports streets for years, it's the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors. They're plus 750. Everyone loves Hawaii. The fact you can catch their games on it, like, it's just the perfect team. Everyone, football, basketball, baseball. I feel like everyone loves Hawaii. Bieniek, your thoughts? I know you had the Mustangs in your top 25 there of Cal Poly after they got that John Madden money after he passed away. What, a $30 million donation, I think it was. Yeah, your Diamond Report once again. Get on over there. You can still get it's like the Phil Steele catalog for college baseball, folks. You can get it digital. It comes also analog. I mean, you got to check it out. Bieniek, your thoughts though on those Mustangs? Because I know you guys didn't you guys have them top 25? I think you did, right?
Top 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love Cal Poly this year, and I love Santa Barbara. I have them in Omaha. I think the Big West at the top is the best mid-major league in the country this year. I think Santa Barbara, Irvine, and Cal Poly all have a chance. If the schedule breaks right and the RPIs hold, they'll all have a chance, and that's doing a lot of heavy lifting there to host a regional this year. I think Coastal Carolina Southern Miss is your best 1-2 punch at the top of a league, but I think the Sun Belt really thins out going down the standings. Whereas the Big West, I think they've got 6 strong teams competing for 5 tournament spots. Therefore, the Big West, I think, in the NCAA tournament will be pretty strong. So you got Santa Barbara, who's the my preseason favorite in the league, currently plus 235 there, and also UC Irvine plus 120 to win it. Me personally, I don't see a whole lot of value in Irvine. Barbara, I kind of like them in that make Omaha market a little bit more at 18-1 rather than, plus 235 when I think this is a relatively good 3-man race. My angle that I'll take you to is Cal Poly at plus 650. Look, this is a team that won the conference tournament last year, and they bring back 6 regulars from the top offense in the Big West last year that had the best batting average. Alejandro Garza, Nate Castillon are back, and then they returned the entire weekend rotation from last year. That is Griffin Ness, Josh Merding, and then unfortunately Ethan Marby, their Sunday guy last year, went down, and he's recovering from Tommy John surgery. Probably won't pitch this year, but they bring in Leif Palmer, a former reliever who had a really good year last year for Oregon State. And he hit the portal kind of looking for some starting opportunities, and I think he'll fit into the weekend rotation. And this is going to be a strong lineup. It'll be the one of, if not the best offense in the Big West. And the pitching is going to be good enough. So I think they're going to be nipping at the heels of both Irvine and Barbara all year long. I think that's your best price. Hawaii, they lost, it was like 27 guys from last year's team. They have a really good, talented core coming back, but it's not enough for me to really love them.
They have the travel spot too, as you well know.
It's a hard ticket to Hawaii. It's not paradise all the time.
And then I think San Diego and UC San Diego and Fullerton are good dark horses, value shots, long shots, however you want to put it. Because San Diego has a really good lineup, and Fullerton brings back their ace and a couple of good hitters as well. JP.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you. The best value on this board is probably Cal Poly for me, as far as is realistically getting a shot at the league at plus 650. I do think it's probably going to come down to UC Irvine and UC Santa Barbara. I think both of those teams. I think there's a chance that we see one of those teams in Omaha this year. Just bold prediction. I know I'm riding Bieniek with the Gauchos on that one. But yeah, honestly, Colby just brought up one of the most genius ideas I've maybe ever thought of. I've never met a degenerate that doesn't love the Rainbow Warriors. I think instead of falling into the trap and betting them at midnight every weekend, I don't think there's any better idea than just throwing $20 on them to win the Big West and just having a little skin in the game for all of those late night, midnight games without having to go back into the bank account. So that might be something that I do just out of pure fun and enjoyment, love of the game.
I kind of like that too. And I watched almost every one of their games because of the time slot, but also think about this conference. Look, I lived in California for over 20 years. Irvine to Long Beach or Fullerton is like 5 minutes, right? Depending on obviously what time you go, it's LA, but mileage wise, not very far, even down to San Diego, even up to Davis, even to Bakersfield. Hawaii's got the one where you're like, damn, we have to actually get on an airplane and go hours. So, and it's a different time zone. So I think that is a legit advantage for them in this conference, even though I know when they travel back, it goes against them. What has happened to the Dirtbags, by the way, guys? This was a real proud program. Plus 2,500. My Dirtbags. What's happening?
They're rebuilding it a little bit. I actually, we had, I think a year ago, we had head coach TJ Bruce on our show, came over from TCU. I like the guy a lot. I think he's a great dude. I think he actually played at Long Beach, so he's able to kind of he had Longoria on campus. He's kind of trying to bring that old dirtbag baseball back to this team that maybe people have felt like lost it a little bit. So yeah, I'm a big Dirtbags fan. I'm pumped I'm rooting for the rebuild. That's for sure.
Yeah. I like the Dirtbags too. I got a jersey hanging actually behind me as decoration. Just recently flipped that in there. But yeah, kind of a rebuild that they were enduring last year. The roster was brand new, besides a couple of pitchers that they brought back. They go 500. So yeah, TJ Bruce has kind of shown the ability to get the most out of a group that I don't think was viewed as one of the top in the Big West. Unfortunately, this year their ace, he was a senior last year. He is a grad transfer out. He was looking for a different program within his interest or major. Unfortunately, though, he lands at Barbara, and their Long Beach State's ace is now like the number 4 for UCSB. So if that doesn't illustrate the gap a little bit, I don't know what else would better do that. But yeah, there's still a little bit of ways to go. I think they're knocking on the door though, and it should be an interesting race for the conference tournament this year. They only get 5 teams in it, so.
Yeah, fun conference for sure. Next up, let's jump over to the likes of the Conference USA, which, if you're wondering, if maybe you're new to college baseball, I'll make no mistake about it. Like 10 years ago, it's not that I didn't. I always appreciate the sport of baseball. I just didn't dive into it like I used to. I'd watch like the championship, right? But that's Dallas Baptist. DBU is not Miami, believe it or not. The Hurricanes with their defensive backs that go, or LSU as they like to say. It is actually Dallas Baptist University there. Bieniek, the CUSA. How is that as a conference? And also because look, they're spread all. It's a strange conference geographically. So your thoughts on the CUSA?
At least they live up to their conference's name of
True.
USA.
They got away with it a little bit.
Atlantic Coast Conference,
Yeah.
And have some Pacific Coast teams as they span across the entire continent. But yeah, so Dallas Baptist is a premier baseball program at the mid-major level. They're your East Carolina, they're your Coastal Carolina in the Conference USA. This is their last year in the league before they move into the Pac-12 for baseball in the newly faced Pac-12 in 2027. I think they are the front runner once again, but they look the most susceptible to a upset in the regular season as they've been in a little while, at least in the preseason. Every year they enter as a preseason favorite. They may not win their league. They were in the Missouri Valley for a long time. They're in Conference USA for a couple of years now. They may not win the league every year, but they are always perceived as the most talented, best team, preseason favorite. Once again, I think that's the case this year. The lineup's talented. They have a little bit of replacing some stars that have left the program, moved on, gotten drafted, or hit the portal. They have to do a little bit more of that than they are typically used to this year. So if you're willing to take a chance, let me point you to the odds on this one. Missouri State is 17-1. I think that is your best value and long shot in the league. Their offense is going to be loaded this year. They bring back Caden Bogenpole, which is one of the better hitters across all of mid-major college baseball. His freshman year was outstanding. Had a little bit of a down year last year, but he still hit 296 with a 900 OPS. And if that's a down year, I think both JP and I would like we would sign up for that in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
So yeah, this lineup is going to be loaded for the Bears. I think their pitching is not bad either. I don't have the 11.7 rankings in front of me to kind of go down it, but the Bears, I think they're the best pick here, and they're my bet on this market. Western Kentucky, I think, is catching a little bit too much respect. Last year, Mark Rardin comes in from the JUCO ranks, and his assistant coach was a really good JUCO coach as well. Colby, we talked about it with the Schulmans coming together and teaming up as a coaching staff. That's kind of what happened at WKU last year. 2 JUCO legends just, hey, let's go run it in D1. And they had one of the best pitching staffs in the country. They lose their pitching coach to Illinois, unfortunately, and I think they're going to take a little bit of a step back. Louisiana Tech had a tough year last year along with Liberty. Both of them didn't really live up to expectation. Louisiana Tech's got some reworking to do on the pitching side of things. They got to throw some more strikes this year. Liberty's got to improve the offense. Last year it was anemic. And if both of those teams can do that, I think they've got a chance. JP, what was your thought process here?
Yeah, I think I know this is something I would never bet, but I actually do think DBU at minus 130 is not a bad play there. I just would never tie my money up for 5 months or put a future on minus 130. But I actually think plus 1,700 for Missouri State here was insane when I first looked at this. I expected them to be maybe up in the plus 600 ranges with Liberty. So I think that's definitely the best value play there. I think Jacksonville State's another sneaky team where they did win like 35 to, I think they won around 35, maybe a few more baseball games last year. So I know I will get a good read on them this weekend, as that's who my Bearcats open up with. But yeah, I totally agree. I think Western Kentucky getting the love there is totally off of how they performed last year. I just don't think they're going to have as strong of a roster this year. So yeah, I'd say my favorite play here is Missouri State.
The Bears. All right. Chat's asking about La Tech. Bieniek kind of touched on it, but Chat's saying go Bulldogs. Good value, plus 800 on them. Let's jump to the next conference, where that is the SEC. We talked about this. Chat was asking about it earlier. Mike Jones saying we got to put 10 units on Arkansas, right, at plus 300. Well, look, I was kind of bullish on them. They were my regular season pick. Go listen to our SEC preview. It's out there where we talk regular season. We even talk the SEC tournament. But I'm curious where your cutoff line is here, Bieniek, in this conference, because we've known they've gotten – and that's another thing, going back to our Omaha 8 picks. I think all 3 of us had 3 SEC teams in. That was not the case last year, right? It was 2, right? Was it 2 last year?
Yeah, just 2 last
year.
Yeah.
I'm curious how many teams. So we all 3 had 3, right? Off the top of my head, I'm trying to remember. I think we did. I think we all 3 had 3.
Yeah.
Cutoff line. Where do you think it's at? And also, how strongly do you think it could be 3? And could we see 2 again? Do you think could we even see 4?
I mean, we saw 4 in 2024. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. We touched on that a little bit at the end of the show in the SEC, how many teams we thought could get to Omaha. I think 4, until I see the ceiling broke. Easily it could be more, but I think the way that the bracket plays out, half the time they run into each other in super regionals and they'll eliminate each other, or the ACC is good enough to eliminate a couple of the SEC teams in regionals and whatnot. And last year we saw a couple of upsets too, and that's always a great thing. They only had 4 teams even win a regional out of their 13 bids, so it was down year for the league last year. They have to respond, in my opinion. But there's value all over this board, Colby. Like, Arkansas is your rightful betting favorite. And in my opinion, they are retooling a little bit. Like I said at the top when I was talking about your pick of the Hogs to get to Omaha. They lose their entire weekend rotation, they lose their entire outfield, and they lose their Golden Spikes Award winning shortstop. But the schedule this year, they dodged LSU, who's the 2025 national championship team. They dodged Tennessee, who's the 2024 national champions. They dodged Texas A&M, who played in the 2024 national championship. They dodged Texas, who won the regular season last year by like 3 games. And they dodged Vanderbilt, who was last year's #1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament. I don't think you could have picked a better 5 teams to dodge. Possibly you would have said, hey, maybe let's not play a team like Georgia, but they get them in Fayetteville. Oh, maybe Mississippi State. They get them in Fayetteville. So all of their road series are at like non-traditional baseball powers. It's really put up on a tee for Arkansas to knock it out of the park, win the regular season, host throughout the postseason, but it's no fun. Arkansas plus 300 is kind of chalk, and I think there's plenty of value down the board. Tim Corbin and Vanderbilt always has those boys playing up to the program standard. 12-1, I think, is some value. It's not my favorite pick. Auburn at 19-1 is tremendous for the talent that they have in their lineup. Throw Texas A&M along in that bin as well. I've talked about Kentucky plenty. They're 20-1 to win the regular season. They just won the SEC regular season 2 years ago in 2024, and I think this year's team's better than it was in 2024. Florida at 20-1 is in that bin. Alabama has maybe the best player in the league at 25-1, and they returned 2 of their top 3 starting pitchers last season in their weekend rotation. So Alabama's primed. Texas also has a favorable schedule. I forgot to mention them in that top bin of teams that could possibly win the regular season. LSU didn't necessarily get the greatest schedule in the world. Mississippi State plays a lot of tough teams, specifically at home. If you believe in the thought process that the SEC is kind of handpicking this and manufacturing the schedules, Mississippi State has one of the best environments at home at Duty Noble Field. They're getting 5 premier baseball schools coming into Starkville, Mississippi this year. That place is going to be on fire at all 5 conference home weekends. But at the same time, there's no free wins on that schedule. So 11-1, it's probably the right price for the schedule. The team's talented. There's some people that believe in them a little bit more than I. JP, sorry for talking all that time. Your thoughts on the SEC?
No, you're good. You nailed it. Like, as hard of a league as it is, and you feel crazy for saying that the league is put on a tee for someone, but it is put on a tee for Arkansas about as much as it could be, them being a top team in the league and given their schedule. I know I am high on the Mississippi State Bulldogs, but I totally agree with you. I think the value on this pick is fair. Just given the schedule that they do have, there's no free wins there. I think a lot of the value in this board, I know I'm high on the Gators this year. I have them in my Omaha 8, and talking about winning weekends, right, is how you win the conference regular season. You do that by having a really, really good 1-2 Friday, Saturday pitcher, which the Gators do have. So I like them a lot at plus 2,000. I think Auburn might have the best lineup potentially in the conference. I really like them at plus 1,900. And then as well as Kentucky, I was a big fan of that team in 24 as my roommate played transfer there and played first base for him. So I still have Lexington, and the Wildcats have a special place in my heart as far as the college baseball landscape. I think that is probably the part of the board that I would focus on as far as futures picks.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. I lost you for a second as my wife turned on the AirPods in the other room. But I was like, wait, what's happening here?
Yeah. If you want like a legitimate, like, hey guys, you didn't really give a pick. Arkansas was my regular season winner this year. I think the schedule is undeniable. Texas is right there in week schedule. So those were 1-2 for me. Kentucky 20-1. Florida 20-1. I think that's where I'm putting my money in this market this year.
Yeah, I'd say for me, I would take Florida as my long shot, and then I believe that I picked Texas to finish first, which at plus 700 is not too shabby there.
Yeah, I took Roll Tide to win the tournament, but I went pretty chalky with Arkansas to win the regular season. But you make a great case. Why even? I mean, plus 300 is still decent value, but I'm saying like, the Kentucky play I jumped on too because I just thought Bieniek might have something with these Wildcats. But yeah, let's jump over to the next, which is the Golden Spikes Award winner. Bieniek, the floor is yours, brother.
Yeah, so this market is not one of my favorites because it's a media-driven award and it's based off of votes specifically in the USA Baseball development program. And so yeah, it's very narrative-driven and it's changed recently. Like you can go back 20 years and you can see a bunch of mid-major players that were absolute stars win this award. You can see pitchers win this award. You can see a JUCO player and Bryce Harper win the award. And then you look the last 4 years and it's all been SEC schools. Texas at the time wasn't an SEC school with Ivan Melendez, but they're the biggest biggest blue blood in college baseball. And they have been for quite some time.
Someone's hungry.
Blue bread. I don't know if I'm necessarily a fan of that, but
some mold, right?
So the Golden Spikes isn't necessarily my favorite award because I think you technically have to stick to SEC or big baseball brand that's going to get media attention. But if you look up and down this board, there is value everywhere. And I posted this when it opened and it got a lot of attention because there are some guys that were priced in the 100s that just didn't belong. And since that's kind of changed a little bit, but there is opportunity all over this. And this is basically college baseball's Heisman Award winner. So it handicap it the exact same as the Heisman, I would say. I don't know how we want to do this because there's opportunity everywhere. Like I said, I don't want to read all of these names. JP, do you have any off the top of your head that hey, this is my favorite. Here's a couple of guys that I've keyed in on or I've identified that I have sprinkled on maybe, or how do we want to do it?
Definitely have a few. I'd say there was in this board, there is one guy that stuck out to me as far as value, everything. It would be my one pick, and that's Ace Reese from Mississippi State.
Yeah.
Put up a monster year last year, his first year in the SEC. And he just continued to get better as the year went on. There's no doubt for me that, like you said, that team has a very good chance to be in the national stage. They will get tons of backing from their fan base. There'll be a lot of support. And I also just think he has a chance to put up the best numbers in the best conference in the country. And I think at plus 2,500, it's pretty good value there.
Ace Reese was my number one too. Last year, he hit 352 with an 1140 OPS, hit 21 homers in his first year in the SEC. I only think that he'll get better. The nervousness or the tiptoeing around him is due to it was an injury. It was either knee or foot in the fall, but he should be ready to go for opening day and to begin the season. 25-1 is a little bit off for a guy that I think is right there with Justin LeBron to be the SEC Player of the Year. So yeah, Ace Reese was one of the guys for sure for me. I like LeBron, but 8-1. I think you can get better prices. Henry Ford opened at 50-1 when I tweeted that. He's now down to 35-1. Caden Sorrell was at 150-1. Now he's at 50-1. So I'll point you to, and we can kind of go ping pong back and forth. The next best value out there that's currently sitting there is Miles Bailey. He's at 100-1 and plays for Florida State. So yes, a little bit against the SEC narrative, But Florida State, if you're looking for a big brand that's not in the SEC, it's going to be the Noles. Last year as a freshman, by the way, this kid's like 6'4", 260. He's an absolute monster and can hit the ball 500 feet whenever he connects with a good one. Hit 327 last year with an 1,100 OPS, hit 19 home runs as a freshman. He struck out 76 times. Now, the final 2 months of the season, he only struck out 20 times. So he really cut it down successfully as he began to get more reps, and it was against stronger competition. He put some balls into the stratosphere against Oregon State in that super regional. And I think that this kid's only going to get better after playing with Team USA throughout the summer and another fall in him. Sophomore year, Miles Bailey, I think, will be good. And at 100-1, if he pokes 25 out over the fence, he's live. And if he hits for good average like he did last year, he's got a chance. JP?
Yeah, I think I'll sit in the same range as Ace Reese there for a little bit. I also like AJ Gracia at plus 2,500. I think the only cold feet play there is just I'm not as high on Virginia potentially as some other people are, but he, like we said in our preview, slumped for like half the year last year, and I think still ended up hitting like 300 with close to 20 homers. He'll probably be a first round draft pick this year. Plenty of potential there to put up some big numbers. And then right next to him there, I always pull for people coming off an injury. I know I've mentioned it before, but Gavin Grahovic from Texas A&M, I think we saw a lot of power out of him his freshman year, and maybe some free swinging, little bit of inexperience, maybe just as a freshman. And I think we didn't get to watch him last year. He was cut short to injury, but I think if he can find that maturity in that gap year, and if we can see the power numbers continue to increase as the contact and the strikeout numbers go down, I think he has potential to put up some stupid numbers.
Yeah, JP, you're kind of hammering that zip code. I'm going to scale even further down the board to another disrespectful price. Give me Chris Rembert at 150-1. What in the world is this? He's the best second baseman in the country. Last year, he hit 344 with an 1,000 OPS, 10 home runs, had 46 RBI, 49 runs scored, walked more than he struck out. As a freshman in the SEC, I think he's only going to get better because he has so much support in that lineup. Auburn legitimately has one of the best, if not the best, offense in the SEC. So, sure, maybe there's other guys competing with him on his own team. But last year, outside of Ike Irish, he was the clear, the first head of that three-headed, four-headed dragon in that lineup that comes back for this upcoming season. So give me Chris Rembert at 150-1. I think it's absolutely crazy that that is hanging there. Also, sticking in that 150-1 range, Trey Phelps of Georgia. Again, JP, we're talking about down years when we said Bogenpole. Last year, Phelps hit 318, 957 OPS with 10 homers, and had a down year.
It was a down year. Yeah. I think I said it in our preview, and like I had him on the show like a year ago, and I texted him, got nervous after it just in case he saw it anywhere. I was like, dude, I hope you know, like, I was trying to pump your tires there by saying you had a down year with hitting 318. That was not a shot at all. But I'm with you on him. I think he could do some big things.
As a freshman, he hit 353 with an 1140 OPS, 12 homers, walked more than he struck out, and he only did that in 135 at-bats. Expand that, double his numbers there. That's a 25 home run hitter. That's like a
small ballpark too.
Yeah. So
I noticed you didn't mention the obvious one is Ethan Norby. I mean, obviously brother, former All-American at ECU, Connor Norby. What is he? He's part of the Marlins organization, I believe now. I mean, that one just is a slam dunk right there, Bieniek, right?
Yeah. One of the
you weren't ready for that one, right?
One of the only aces coming back in the country. I will say that last year, like, was it coming into the year, they wanted to use him as like a bullpen swing man. and they, due to injury, had to their hand was forced to put him into the rotation. Oh, this guy only threw 90 innings, 119 strikeouts, just 22 walks, threw a no-hitter in there as well. The kid was outstanding. He's like a first-team All-American this year. The thing about pitchers, though, Colby, and unfortunately, I mentioned at the top, I didn't go in depth. Paul Skeens existed in 2023.
Yeah.
And he did not win this fucking award. So I think we've moved away from the pitcher. I think the last time a pitcher won was Kevin Kopps, who was a reliever. Outstanding.
It's like a wideout in the Heisman.
Correct.
It's
yeah,
like
running back in the Heisman, wide
yeah.
receiver in the Heisman. So you want to kind of stick to the quarterback in that aspect of things. JP, there's a dark horse that's not from a baseball power or SEC or top tier program that I have that I think could play his way in here. Were there any other names that you wanted to mention in this?
Just to show a little bit of love to our pitchers here, if that's even a chance of them winning the Golden Spikes. I got my 3 picks for pitchers of the year in their respective conferences, and Liam Peterson is at plus 10,000. Jason DeCaro is at plus 12,000, and Tommy Lepore also at plus 12,000. I think
ridiculous.
All 3 of those guys have a chance to put up great numbers, but again, Paul Skeens did exist in 2023 and did not win this award, which is ridiculous. But no, I'm curious of hearing your pick here.
Yeah, one other guy actually moved on down the board. Didn't talk about was Ryder Helfrich at 40-1. The catcher for Arkansas, he's going to be the best hitter, and also they replaced their entire weekend rotation. I think that narrative could play in. Like if the pitching staff's as good as we think that it's going to be, he'll have that going for it as he's catching every guy and will be the best hitter for Arkansas. And if they make a little bit of a run, that'll only help. But no, the deep shot, long shot value play for me is Brady Ballinger of Kansas. Really high on the Jayhawks this year. And this guy put up silly numbers as a sophomore last year. He was a freshman that transferred in from junior college. And typically the JUCO transfers kind of click in year 2. It's like an up transfer going into a power conference. They don't necessarily always hit in year 1. But, I mean, this guy hit 353 with an 1164 OPS, 16 home runs, and he walked more than he struck out. I think he's only going to get better in year 2 and as a junior in Division I. I think Kansas lineup is going to be good enough to support some of his counting stats this year and help his RBIs. So Brady Ballinger, if he just keeps that up, he will be in this conversation, I think, as like a draft eligible junior going into his draft year here. So Brady Ballinger is kind of the long shot, dark horse play in the Golden Spikes Award for me.
Yeah, I love that pick. He was actually my pick for Big 12 Player of the Year. Got to watch him in person last year. Just a big, pretty left-handed swing. And the ball tends to fly a little bit in Lawrence. At least it did last year for the Jayhawks. So I would not be surprised if he's able to pop, 20, 25 home runs out this year, potentially.
Yeah. All right.
There we go. All right. Anything else you guys want to touch on before we jump out of here?
I think we, spewed it all out. That was a lot, but
what about schedule? What about schedule? And just, I was curious. I know what are you gonna do? An episode Thursday night, Bieniek? Would that be accurate?
Yeah, Thursday night for every week moving forward. Thursday night picks for the best weekend series, and also Friday nights. Kind of bettable games. We're not going to cover minus 300 blank versus plus 250 blank unless we like the dog. But we'll talk every quality game that's within reason, and it'll be fun throughout the year.
Can I just hot potato you guys just right now? Game you're most excited about watching Friday?
So I'll be
one
in person.
Just jumps out. Is it Vanderbilt TCU or something? What is it? Yeah.
So I'll be in person for Arkansas TCU Friday night. Sign me up.
There
Arkansas TCU, I believe that might be a Saturday game.
Yeah, Arkansas Oklahoma State is Friday night, I believe, right?
Okay.
Yeah, my day's screwed up there. On the Head First podcast, we've been putting our focus towards a Saturday morning show. So I've been really focused on the Saturday slate, and I think that Arkansas TCU game is probably my favorite game of the entire weekend. But looking at the Friday slate here, gotta love Houston and Wake Forest. First pitch is at 7:30 a.m. local time for me, so that's going to be
fantastic.
Awesome.
My favorite series of the week, if we're talking like series, and I know this one's on Friday, so I don't have any worries. UC Santa Barbara at Southern Miss. The place is going to be on fire. Those are two top 5 mid-major teams in the country, I think. I love the Gauchos this year, but the Southern Miss Golden Eagles definitely have a very quality team that can give them everything and more in a 3-game set there down in Hattiesburg
and that's 5:00 Eastern there at Pete Taylor Park in Hattiesburg. Yeah, man. What's that?
Go ahead.
No. I'm just saying I'm looking forward to it all. I'm looking forward to Oregon State beating the piss out of Bieniek's Wolverines too. But what were you gonna say, man?
I think my favorite Friday game I'm looking forward to. I have TCU in Omaha, and a lot is for Tommy Lepore, their Friday night pitcher, and we'll be able to watch him go up against Vanderbilt, who was the number 1 seed going into the tournament last year. So I think that's probably my big Friday game I'm looking forward to the most.
Colby, that Michigan Oregon State game actually has a little bit of a fun storyline too. Oregon State's projected shortstop Tyler Inge was a Wolverine last year. So,
ooh.
Yeah.
Did he untake the bag?
Yeah, he untook the bag.
He's like, well, I don't want this money. Let me just go to a winner, right?
Yes, he was a late transfer, 1,000%.
Fantastic stuff. We got action Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I mean, we're just it's full on. It's full on. It's glorious. Folks, subscribe to the College Baseball Experience. Also, make sure you check out JP was talking about this a minute ago. He's doing this. He's focused on Saturday. They're doing the pregame thing at the Head First podcast. Make sure you check them out. JP Sponseller there. You see on the screen his Twitter handle there at JSPON_590. Bieniek is on Twitter at NoahB77_. I'm on Twitter at the Colby D. The College Baseball Experience is on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Look, I don't want to say it's the best time of year because I love Omaha, but goddamn it, it's a great time of year. All right, we got ball coming. Yeah, exactly. We will be with you all season 2. So subscribe, tell a friend, please, and don't forget the Diamond Report.
Yeah.
All right, if you're like, to me, like, these guys are dialed the fuck in. Me, I'm getting the Diamond Report just because I need to know, right? I don't have the knowledge just off the top of my head. You know what I mean? So
Colby also is like very analog. He needs it in his hands too.
Oh yeah, 100%.
He's got all
100%,
those Steel magazines from like 30 years ago.
You need it in your hand, kind of like a titty, right? You just need it in your hand, right? You got to do it, right? You got to do it, folks. I appreciate Diamond Report though. It's $20. You get access. I mean, it's like the Phil Steele catalog. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you know, comparing it to college football, or it's like the ultimate program. If you don't know college football, if you're a college baseball head and only a college baseball head, imagine, back in the day, pre-internet, when you're getting that program at the game, you're saying, okay, who's this guy? What should we be looking for here? All right. It's all access. You got to get it. Diamond Report there. How do you get the Diamond Report? Paul's asking in the chat.
TheDiamondReport.com. Only the digital version is available now. We pre-ordered 100. We had no idea what the demand would be. It has clearly overshot expectation that we had. Next year it's going to be bigger and better.
You say we. It's not us three. This is like, look, this is like all these great baseball minds, these college baseball minds coming together to do this thing.
Yeah. Just guys that were hungry, that aren't really like in associated media. We're all kind of independent, and we're like, hey, we have the ability and talent to do this. Let's dive in. Let's bust the door down. And plus give people something that's needed, because you got it in football, you got it in basketball. The collegiate newspaper kind of phased out. I think it was a couple of years ago. So yeah, there was no like hard copy version of college baseball info out there.
So one more time, Diamond Report, right?
thediamondreport.com.
There we go. Thediamondreport.com. Check it out,
Link
folks.
in the bio or in the description.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Till Thursday, folks. This is the college baseball experience. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Run, shoot.